Welcome back to Smokehouse Sunday, episode 3. Today we're making something sweet, smoky, and a little boozy. That's right, smoked bourbon pecan pie. Now depending on where you're from, you might say pecan or you might say pecan. It doesn't matter, this is a must-try recipe. I found this old recipe buried in a vintage church cookbook. It was for a chocolate pecan pie, but what really caught my eye was the name next to the recipe, Betty Sour, and man did that take me back. Betty and her husband Keith ran K&B's. It was the corner store in Troy Mills for years. I remember her sitting in that smoke-filled back room chain smoking like it was her full-time job. If a customer walked in, you'd hear her chair scrape against the floor and she'd shuffle up behind the counter, just like she hadn't ripped through a half a pack of Virginia Slims. Her husband Keith ran the service station next door. It was that small town kind of spot where a kid could ride their bike up with a handwritten note and come back home with a pack of cigarettes, and nobody batted an eye. I don't think Betty ever made this pie to sell in her store, but if she did, I'd like to think it would be a little bit smoky, a little bit boozy, and unforgettable, just like her. Alright, here's what we're working with. First up, I smoked these pecans at 225 for about 30 minutes. They got a spritz of olive oil, a little bit of smoked sea salt, and a little pinch of sugar. For the filling, a few eggs, brown sugar, dark corn syrup, vanilla bean paste, and of course bourbon. This isn't the time to be shy. Add a good splash here. Now we add the chocolate chips and the butter that came out of the microwave to give it that chocolatey goodness. Now fold in your smoked pecans to the mixture and pour this into your favorite crust. We're baking this right on the smoker at 325, and it only took about 45 minutes. You're looking for a jiggly center, not a slosh. I used a toothpick to check for doneness. I will be serving this with some ice cream, and if you're feeling a little extra, a drizzle of hot honey. I'm going to top that off with a little drizzle of hot honey. Well, there's only one thing left to do. It's really gooey, smoky, slightly boozy with some chocolate notes. You get the nutty smokiness from the pecans with the salt. A little kick from that bourbon. It's rich but balanced, and that hot honey makes a nice little shell or a glaze over top of the ice cream, and it's fantastic. So whether you call it pecan or pecan, this right here belongs on your pit. Don't forget to follow, like, and share. And remember, Smokehouse Sunday, new recipe every week. See y'all next time.